Hey, welcome, thanks for stopping by. It's time to learn with our friend Clive. So grab your brush, have a great time. And don't forget to click subscribe. Visit Clive5Art.
Hello and welcome, and thank you very much for taking up my invitation and joining me in the studio today. As you can see, I've already got a background completed. I'll talk a little bit more about that in 1 second. I want to talk about trees today, so I thought maybe we'll play around with 1 or 2 little clouds. I'll show you how to do them very quickly, but the other thing I want to show you is a tree, how to paint a tree. Now, you've seen me doing this a few times, but I thought it would really be nice if we reapproach this subject and think about putting some sort of a tree or something in here. So without further ado, let's have a look at the colours I've got on the palette. Stay away from the blues. Don't worry too much about those blues, because that's the ones I use just actually to put the background on. But we've got a bit of Mars black, we've got a bit of yellow, we've got a bit of sap green there. I'm just going to add a touch more white to my palette, and if I decide to use a bit of blue, then we'll talk about that as well. There's Cerulean blue and some phthalo blue there, but not to worry about that at the moment. I've got a range of brushes. I've got a strip line, I've got a short flat, I've got a little filbert, a number 4 detail brush, one of my foliage brushes that I happen to sell on my website if you want to pop along, and a 1-inch short flat. Now I'm going to pick these brushes up and just put them one side there. And let's have a look at this. Now, I want some sort of a rolling hill to come down there. So I'm going to wet my brush, and I'm just going to pick up some sap green just for now. And I'm just going to darken that with a little bit of black. A little bit of black. Just a small amount of black. Just to darken our green down like that. Maybe I need go a bit darker, but we can do that later on. And this actual background is available in the iCards there if you want to go and have a look at that. And if you want to know how I did that, I'm just using ordinary acrylics with tap water, just showing you that it can be done that way, as well as using my acrylic mediums that I've got available on the website. But if you don't want to go down that road, just want to use water, of course you can. So I'm looking at a reference photo. As you know, I pre-paint some of these things. And I want a bit of a rolling hillside, because I live in Wales. I want to come down maybe like this, like that. And I'm just letting the brush caress the canvas like that. Not too worried too much about how thick or how thin this paint is. In fact, I'm just going to add a little bit more black to that, and I'm going to bring that in on the canvas as well. And I'm just going to paint in a little bit of green there like this, and just make this a nice sharp edge, if you can get a nice sharp edge. There we are, because we've got a lot of hills around Wales, especially where I live, and I'm not living too far from the valleys. No, I'm not. So as I'm picking up just a small amount of black on my brush, I'm just going to darken this grass down a little bit there, and I'm going to mix this onto the canvas like that. I'm really decided where my light source is coming from, because that's one of the things you need to think about if you're painting landscapes and portraits and things like that. You need to think roughly where your light source is going to come from, but I suppose that will develop as we proceed with this tree. But at the moment, I'm just putting some colour, some block out. This is called a block out stage. So I'm just adding a little bit more black, a bit more sap green, and keeping the dark colour there, bringing the sap green to it. You can add 2 different types of paint on your brush, or you can mix on the canvas, or you can mix on the palette. It doesn't really matter which way you do it, as long as it looks okay and you're happy with it. That's all that counts, really. Yeah, that's all that counts. Are you happy with it? It doesn't matter what anybody else says, it's whether you are happy with it. Let me take my hat off. There we are. So I'm just going to proceed with putting this on, and we actually painted a little owl sitting on this tree. We did, yes. Billy the owl was sitting on the tree, and he had a few brothers and sisters, old Billy, and they flew away because they found their wings a little bit earlier than Billy. And yes, they left him on the tree all on his own. And if you want to see Billy and how to paint Billy, then please click the iCards. But that's going to take you into a lesson there where we actually painted Billy sitting on this tree. Yes. There you go. Can you hear my Molly bark in today? And I was asked, Clive, can you bring Molly into the studio to see us? And the thing is, I've got so many cables and wires and things across the floor of the studio. I'm afraid that she's only just gone a year old, and she's a little bit boisterous, to say the least. Not like old Dylan, my other little dog. If you look at my old videos, you will see Dylan. He's a little white Parsons Jack Russell, and yeah, he was a bit more well behaved, but he was an old boy, so a bit like me. He was a whole old boy, so I'm just blending some of those brush strokes out. I'm not too worried about getting them 100% accurate. There we are. I'm washing this brush, and I thought, for a bit of fun today, let's see if we can put some clouds in. So I'm just going to go, there we are, we'll just use this standard short flat. This is a half short flat, there you go. And I'm going to get some white, titanium white by there. I'm going to bring a little bit of Prussian blue to that, just to darken it up. There you go. Just to give that shadow colour. And she is giving it some. I got red in my brush. Why have I got red in my brush? That doesn't matter. Okay, so I was painting something earlier on, which had red in it, and obviously I didn't wash my brush out very well. But there we are. I got that colour's gone a little bit purple, so that's fine. That's fine. We can live with that. There you go. Wow, she is giving it some today. So let's have a look now. I haven't done any clouds for a while, so let's just put some shadow in. There you go. Just put some shadow in. Just make some shadowy marks like this. There you go. Don't want too many. Don't want too many. Just some fluffy clouds in the sky. There you go. Don't push too hard on the edges. You don't want to, you want to fluffy on the edges. All we're doing at the moment is just putting a few shadows in place. Yeah, we don't want too many, but to just show you that we can put a few shadows in place for the moment, and we could put some couple of stringy ones maybe. They come in all different shapes, and so don't worry too much about shadows. And what it is, my wife Jane is actually got the vacuum cleaner going, and she doesn't really like vacuum cleaners. Let's put another one, nice one there like that. You can see how loose. See how loose you can be. Don't worry too much. Don't worry too much about being too tight with these things. It's a bit like painting waves, really. The more if you tend to do this, and that's not really what you want, is it? Because I know I've seen clouds like that, but you want to try and be a little bit looser. Fluff up the edges. Look, fluff up the edges there. I never worry too much. I never stress over clouds too much, because inevitably that they're not the main focus of the painting. I'm just picking up a little bit of white on my brush now, and I'm just going to go back in and I'm just going to pick up some highlights on these clouds like this. Yeah, nice and loose and fluffy. What you could do if you wanted to, you could get I'll just use, what have I got here now? I got a little Filbert brush here, it'll do. This little Filbert brush, and then I can just smooth in some of these rough edges like this, look. Very, very lightly. Tickling the back of your hand. Do you remember me saying this? Tickling the back of your hand. That's how clouds are made up. Yes. God went around the sky and he was painting the clouds, and he was just using the pressure very lightly. Very, very, very lightly, and he said, just tickle the back of my hand. Yes. Very, very lightly. It's not a lesson on clouds, but I thought, just for a bit of fun, let's put some clouds in today. I'll most probably paint over some of these in a minute, but it doesn't matter. Nice dry brush. There's no moisture on this brush. I'm just blending this in like that. There you go. Picking up a little bit more white. Just picking up a bit more white. There we go. And again, smoothing that in like this. A couple of those edges show through like that. How are we looking? And they look pretty good, I think. Feel loose. Don't think clouds are free, they're wispy things. They just float in the air and they change it, always ever changing, always ever changing. If you've ever painted outside and you look at the sky, and I always wondered how artists did that. Do you know? I always wondered how, you go outside and you try to paint something, and like the sea or the sky or something like that, and I always wondered, oh, I wish I could do that. How do they do that? Because things never stay the same, do they? Things never stay the same. They never do. I went a bit mad with the old violet down here, so I had a bit of red in my brush, didn't I? So let's just get some funny little stringy things. Something like a cloud is just breaking apart there. A big puff of wind has come along and just knocked him off his journey, and he's just drifting away, and the further away you go to the horizon, the smaller these things are going to get. There you go. So what we can do, we can get our brush now and we can just compact a few clouds down here like this, because that's way, that's way in the distance. Look, way in the distance. Just make some marks like that. Look. You can see something there, but you don't know what it is. But you know they're clouds, and they're so far away. There you go. So far away. They certainly are. Let's build a bit more form into this one. It's a little bit closer, this one maybe. And he's a bit lower in the sky, because we're on a mountain, so you could be quite high up here. You could be quite high up. This could be up in Brecon in South Wales or something like that. You don't know. I don't know where this is. This is just my imagination. And sometimes paint from your imagination, because guess what? You'll be surprised what you can imagine. You'll be surprised. There, let's just put some wispy things in like this. And does that matter? If it's a little bit dark here and there. How are we looking on camera? I think that looks okay. I think. Let me just brush a little bit more in there like that. On this, just for fun, let's just put a few stringy things in there, and then we could just do this just for fun. Have you ever seen them in the sky? People are going on holidays, jet streams. There we go. A couple of little jet streams. That's faded away there. And there's another one going on like that. There are a couple of jet streams in the sky. I hope you can capture them. Have I captured them? I hope you can see those. And that's given this chance to dry. Well, not really. It's still a bit tacky. But we don't mind that. No. Okay, let's put those brushes in there. Now, I'm going to have to get a little bit of brown, I think. So today I'm going to use some Van Dyke brown. Now if you haven't got any Van Dyke brown, don't worry. Mix a little bit of burnt umber and a little bit of black and you're going to get that colour. I haven't done that because I'm just lazy, basically. Picking up my small filbert, and I'm just going to mix a bit of black actually with that because I want this to dark. I want this dark. There you go. I want this dark. Okay, now I've got to decide, because I'm looking at the little painting I've done on my tree. I've got to decide where my tree is going to live, and I think his foots are going to be there maybe. Let's make a little bit bigger. His foots are going to be there maybe, and he's going to be an old trunky old tree. So let's just make him. There you go. We'll get him. We'll develop him now. He's in my head. This one. Well, it's actually on a bit of paper I painted it on, but it came out of my head. And we got a bit of a trunk there, and this is not going to be the same as that one, because what happens is if you don't constrain yourself to copying something, let your mind and your artistic skill develop. There we are. Look, let it just develop. Use it as a reference. Don't ever worry about using. Don't ever worry about using photographs or paintings and other paintings and things like that. Don't ever worry about that. Let's push that in. Let's take that away. He's just on a twist, look. There. Had a bit of a bad year that year, this tree. I think he got caught in the wind. It was howling across the valley there. It's coming up the valley and it blew him when he was a little baby tree. It blew him a bit. It really did. And then let's have another little trunk coming out there like that. Okay, and just take your time, just using the filbert brush, trying to keep things as even as they can be. Now don't forget, trees are live things, and they grow everywhere which way they want, and they can be. Just put a little notch there. Look, that one snapped off. Yeah, that did snap off that year. Oh, crumpy old tree, this one. It really is. Let's just make that a little bit more. There we are. It looks better that way. There. Just using this brush. And then just making that edge nice and sharp. How are we looking? I think we're looking pretty good. So let's just put one more coming off there. One more coming off there like that. And that one's going in the background. There we go. What we could do now, we can get our strip liner brush again, run that through a bit of moisture, water or medium mixed flow improver if you've bought any of me, which is available at www.cli5art.co.uk, or just use tap water. That's fine too. And we're just going to go in and we just put a few marks like that. I mean, make a bit thicker paint, I think. That's better. And just put. Don't want too many of these because we'll most probably end up losing a lot of these things. But we've got to put them in just for now, just to get some sort of a thing. Because you might see them, you might not. Who knows? I don't know. I haven't put the foliage on yet. So just there you go. And as you release the pressure of the brush, you can get very, very fine. Let me show you. You get very, very fine lines. Just using the very, very tip. Look, use the very, very tip of the brush. But it takes a little bit of practice, but you can get there. And you can do this with trees for hours and hours and hours if you wanted to build a lot of foliage, or just branches, I should say. Yes. Okay, I'm going to wash that brush now. I'm putting that back in my thing, and I wash them out using warm water, a little bit of soap, and I lay them down flat. And then stand a wet brush up I'm picking up a bit of black. Picking up a bit of black because I don't know, I think the light is going to be coming this way a little bit, so I want to blacken, pick up a bit more black. I want to darken that edge just a touch here. Just darken that off a bit like that. A bit of shadowing in there already. A bit of shadow there as well. There you go. What I'm going to do now, I'm going to dry that off with a hairdryer, and we're going to come back and see if we can play around with a little bit with the canopy. Okay, so what I thought I'd do now, I'm going to pick up my little foliage brush. These foliage brushes you can actually purchase on the website www.clive5art.co.uk, and this is what I use. These have been designed, and I've had them made for myself actually, because I quite like the way they. I wanted Pacific patterns. I don't do a lot of landscapes, but I wanted to find a Pacific pattern. So anyway, it doesn't matter. So I'm going to put the yellow by there, just plain yellow by there. And I'm not too worried about picking up that green. I'm going to use Mars Black and yellow. Wow, can you mix black and yellow? Yes, you can, because tell you why. Look at this. We're going to get a nice dark colour. There we go. Put a nice dark. Look at that little Prussian blue as well. Let's really darken this green up. We've got a green and more on the blue side now. There we go. And load this brush up. This brush loads a lot of paint. You can see I can shape it as well. I can shape it to a chisel, or I can stress it out like that. See? Okay, now I've got to decide. I've got to make a decision now where my canopy is going to come. So I'm not going to do too much too quick. I'm going to put my colours in, and I'm looking at shape. I'm following the shape of my tree, and I'm putting the canopy on. I'm thinking about shape and form now. Now a little bit up there maybe. There we go. And this is going to come up like this. Got a little bit sticking out the top like that. They're the brave ones there. They're the ones that are sitting on top of the tree. I'm pushing into the canvas now and getting that nice dark colour in there. Not too worried about bits of blue showing through. I want to try and get a nice dark and a little bit of blue showing through occasionally like that. Leave a couple of little tiny gaps, but you're looking mainly now at building this tree up. So maybe we can come a bit more like this. Don't worry about the little bit sticking out like that. Trees are funny old shapes all the time here. We've got a bit coming down there like that. Don't forget about Billy the Owl. If you want to know who Billy the Owl is, you need to check out that iCard painting. So leave a little bit of the tree coming through there, look. And again, let's pick up on this side now. We'll put a little bit there maybe, and let's put a little bush. Trees are bushes. Trees are bushes. If you think about bushes, when we do a bush in a minute maybe, if you think about bushes, all a tree is loads of bushes. So just put loads of bushes in. Little tiny bit of moisture, look, a little tiny bit of moisture. Bring a bit of that black back over there. Bring a bit more yellow to that. Yeah, a little bit of that Prussian blue, look. Put that back in. Don't worry about the colour being 100% accurate. It's not designed that way. All we need is a dark green, and how we get that dark green doesn't really matter. So there we go. Got a little bit of a bushy thing now coming out there like that. Just don't forget these branches go all the way around. We've got a couple down there like that. This could be an old oak tree. This could be an old boy. And I've got a couple of old boys around with me. These old trees. These oak trees are quite a few around where I live. So just develop that shape. Wait until you see that shape develop. Does that look a little bit better? It does. Let's just... Oh, we've gone over our clouds now. I did say we would. It doesn't matter. We just need to watch these things. These things tend to grow. Literally, they do. They will grow on you. Don't worry about that. Be very careful, because before you know it, he's off the side of the canvas and he's on the roof of my shed. He is. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a little bit more black to that, because I want to bring in some shadows inside this foliage, because I want those leaves there at the other side, they're catching out a little bit of light. I want to get intensify a little bit of deeper shadow here now. And I know Jason Bowen is watching this. I hope he is watching this intensely, Jason, because now I'm starting to struggle. Now there's more than one shade of green on this tree, and I am finding it difficult to see the difference between one colour of green and another colour of green. But I'm working on the front side of the tree now, hopefully. And I've done the back side of the tree, and I think you've seen me do this a couple of times. I'm just developing some lighter, darker areas. You know what I mean. So that's the distance. Now when I'm trying to get this tree in, I'm trying to do the front of the tree. I'm trying to develop this dark, really dark colour. We've got a light coming through there, so that's going to hit that a little bit. So let's just, okay. I'm not going to waste this, so I'm going to do the. I'm going to put some shadowing in here for a minute, because obviously there's going to be a shadow coming off that tree. So I'm just chucking a bit of maybe long grass or something. There you go. Bracken and stuff, and all this type of stuff like that. Tell you what we could do, would be fun. Let's put a little bush. Let's get a little bit of moisture, because my paint is drying on me a little bit. Let's just put a little bush here. There's a little bush lives just on the edge of the canvas. There he is. We found him. We just had to push him out the brush. There we are. And just bring some grass area down. Don't worry about over there, we can lighten that up in a minute. And what I'm doing is just putting some texture into this ground area. Why have I painting grass? I do not know. Oops. That's a bit wet. See how that's gone a bit wet? So it's okay. Let's just pull it down like that then. We've got a bit of a smoother area. The grass is being cut. The grass is being cut. Let's stop there, Clive, because we can cause too many problems. So let that dry on its own naturally. Okay, so we need to look at this tree a bit now, don't we? And let's. It's still wet, so what I'm doing is I'm pulling in a little bit more yellow now into that green mixture that we made. So a little bit of black. I don't want to go too light too quick. A little bit of black, bit of Prussian blue, only a smidge. Bounce it down, bouncy bouncy, like that. Try. Yes, good. Now think of little clumps of light. Think of little clumps. Give it some thought. Constantly load this brush. Give it some thought. You really, really do need to think about the tree now. You need to bring this tree to life. Don't kill all those darks. No, 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 don't do that. Look, bring this tree to life. Okay, I know it looks a little bit weird at the moment, but it's going to come to life. We're going to build that up again. Now what you could do, and what I'm going to do, I think, you could dry that off and then go in. But if you do that, what's going to happen is it's going to be too sharp. So you want the colour that's going to be put on next layer. I want to try and keep it sticky. If it's sticky, that's good, because what happens if it's sticky is it's going to pull off my brush a lot easier. So you've got two options. You can dry each layer, so every colour you put on you can dry, or if you're a little bit more experienced and you're a little bit quicker like me, you can paint wet on wet, and that's good because this is going to merge with that colour. Now again, just put in very, very lightly, very little pressure I'm using now, very little pressure. Don't forget, these are highlights. These are all individual tiny little leaves that we're trying to show on this tree. You don't want to put them everywhere. You just want to put them roughly, because it's dark in there. That's where all the little squirrels live. And oh, Billy, we'll have to put Billy's branch on in a minute. Yeah, because he wanted to fly off, didn't he? So put a few more highlights here and there. And as we don't waste this, let's put some. There you go. It's a bit of a bush. Put a few clumpy things here and there like that. Don't waste anything. This is all look nice when we've finished. We've got to think of how this is going to look later. Just bring a bit of light in there like that. There we go. Don't worry too much about that. Let's pick up a little bit of darker colour now. More light. There we go. Okay. Okay, I'm playing too much. Just concentrate on the tree type. Right, a bit more yellow. Bit more yellow. How many highlights? Really speaking, how bright do you want your tree? Don't forget, this is going to dry dark. I'm going to dry it off in a minute and show you how dark it actually goes. So it's a little bit too yellow, so I just brush through my little bit of sap green. I just want to pick up some final little highlights. Don't forget, light is coming this way, so it's going to be a bit lighter on the one side and a little bit darker on that side. Oh, it's going to pick up a little bit of light as well. Zinging, zinging, zinging through that tree there like that. So it's going to be a bit brighter this side. There you go. Be very careful. And before we dry that off, I'm going to get myself my my detail brush. Where did I put my detail brush? Is that my detail brush? No, that's not my detail brush. There it is. Okay, let's get some Van Dyke brown, a little bit of white, a little bit of white to Van Dyke brown. There we are. We can change that value up a bit. And let's just put some colour into this tree now. Don't forget, it's going to be darker over there, so I'm going to run into a little bit of black, because that's going to be in shadow there like that. It's going to be a bit blacker down there. So I'm running that through my paint. So you lost all those lovely branches we put in. But that's what happens sometimes. Now you can let some of them show through if that's what you wanted to do. Yep, you could. It's your world, you can paint what you want. As old Bob Ross used to say, it's entirely up to you how you do that. And a bit of highlight on this trunk. Just showing a bit of highlight. And a little bit down. Let's get that nice sharp point. I want a little bit of reflective highlight on that one side like that. A little bit of reflective highlight, there we go. That can come down in like this. And then we can put a little bit more of a wash over that later on. There you go. And let's put a little branch there, like that. Let's put a little branch like that, because that's where Billy was sitting. It was, yes. If you don't believe me, go check our iCard out. Yes, he was sitting on that branch. Now, what I think I'll do will be very quickly before that dries actually, and I got all my brushes in my pot and I don't like doing that normally. What did I do with that? My brush. So I cut the camera there for a minute. Okay, bit of black into that burnt umber. Or not burnt umber, is it? It's Van Dyke brown. And then we can put through, we can show put a few little branches showing here and there, like that, just to give it a little realistic type of thing. We have a few branches showing here and there and there and here. We could put a few twigs or whatnot there, like that. Okay, now what I'm going to do very quickly, I'm going to dry that off with a hairdryer. I'm going to finish off the grass as quick as I can. Okay, I dried that off, and what I'm doing now is I'm just putting a little bit of a light green just down the top of that hillside there, like that, just to give the essence of light going down the hillside. There you go. Now you can see that that's darkened off. We could put another highlight on there, we could, but we'll see. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go into this brush. This is another brush that you can purchase on the website, and that's one of my largest foliage brushes. And I like these brushes. They're natural bristle brushes, so they will shed, so be careful. You have the odd hair coming out of these things until they've settled down. Yes, because they can be quite naughty sometimes. I just moistened that brush a bit. I'm going to go straight into some sap green. You can use yellow, or you can use black if you wanted to, Mars black. But I got sap green on the thing. I want to use that. So I'm just taking off the moisture. Now I'm going to go this way. As you can see, you should be able to. It does little grass patterns like that. Now this is up on a hillside, so don't forget that where I live, the hillside, well, I don't live on the hillside, but where I live, where there's hillsides, the grass is quite long. Yes, because it's where the sheep live, and the sheep eat the grass, and sometimes you get areas of grass that are bare, like that area, because they've come along and they've eaten the grass, and they've heard the farmer coming down the field with the bales of food or whatever they eat, and they run off down there. So this is quite long hillside grass, and there's all different colours here and there. Basically, just using the brush in that fashion is giving us a nice easy way of doing long grass. And if you wanted shorter grass, use the brush that way. And that way you get shorter bits of grass. Look, see? So it's quite a universal, it's going to pick up a little bit of lighter green here and there. It's quite a universal brush. And again, I might put some lighter bits of green here where the light is just zinging through that tree there. And it's going to be catching a bit of the yellow. It's going to be catching all the light coming down there like that. Think of the way this land is going to flow there. Don't worry about covering every bit of the canvas. It doesn't really matter, does it? And we can bring in a little, because there's shadow, and that's shadow, look, that's where the tree is, the light is coming this way, and the tree is just caught a little bit of shadow there. That's going to be a little bit lighter, so let's just go into a bit more yellow. Let's just change blades of grass, like we did with the tree, look. Just increasing certain parts of this. Just put in little highlights, look. See? Little highlights here and there and here. Just as if the light is just shining through. And we tell you what we could do now. We could get some blue on our brush. And a little bit of Prussian blue as well. So two colours. A little bit of Sicilian blue and a little bit of Prussian blue on our brush. Taking the excess off and then just go in. Got some bluebells on the hillside. And I did some bluebells. Check my card out. And I also had a few white bells, didn't we? Or lilies of the valley. Lilies of the valley. Yeah, a couple of lilies of the valley. There we go. A couple of lilies of the valley there, you know. Clumps of them in between the blue. There we are. A little bit of that, yes. Now, the other thing we've got is some daisies. So I just get in my script line and dip it into some pink. And let's just put some clumps of little daisies just under the tree here and there in here. Could be anywhere. Clumps of daisies. And then we could have some bluebells there like that. And if I had some red on my palette, I'd put some foxgloves in as well, because there's normally foxgloves around there in these hedgerows as well. I wet that brush and I didn't want to do that. Let's just get the moisture. Where's my bin? There it is. Get the moisture out of my brush. Just want to go back in with a little bit more grass. I'll just bed these flowers in a touch. There we are. So some nice bluebells. In fact, let's get some bit more blue. It could be cornflowers, couldn't it? Could be anything like that, couldn't it? It doesn't really matter, does it? It's just a look of a hillside, really, isn't it? And I tell you what we could do. We could get some white, and we could put a little lump there, and a little lump there. In this. We'll keep a welcome in the hillside. There we are. We'll keep a welcome in the hillside. We'll keep a welcome in the glen. A little bit of black on the tip of that brush. I'm going to just put a little bit of black there, a little bit of black there, a little bit of black there. And there's a couple of sheep sitting in the field. And let's get a little bit of black again on the tip of this brush. And let's put a couple of little birds like that. And there's Billy flying off to meet his family. And if you want to know what Billy is, he is. If you want to know what Billy is, Billy's a bit closer than I thought. I know what Billy is. I'll check the iCard. So there's Billy flying off his tree to go and meet his brothers and sisters who fledged earlier. We've got a wonderful looking tree there on the Welsh hillside with a couple of sheep, some bluebells, some cornflowers and some lilies of the valley. And all it remains me to do today is just sign my name in the bottom corner, and I'm going to call that one done. Thank you very much for joining me in the studio today. Please like, comment and subscribe, and have fun with this one. I don't know when you're going to see it, as time is relative on YouTube, but God bless, and I will see you on another lesson. Morris.
It's time to learn with our friend Clive. So grab your brush, have a great time, and don't forget to click subscribe.